Hi YouTube, how's it going? It's Waba here. I am with the World System. Is it the World System? The system of the world?
Wild.
The
The
Wyld.
Wyld system.
Look at me, messing up my guest. Great. Anyway, please go check out their TikTok. It is in the description below. We are here to interview them on their lovely, their experience with DID and everything else that they do in the science of DID. They've promised me the brain chemistry of DID, which is like, what?
It's a special interest. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where when we started figuring everything out, we couldn't help but try to compare to the actual like processes of the brain. And so we had to know all the answers.
I'm sorry, we just got like the most wholesome first chat. Those pronouns are not correct at all. That's correct. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's from my last guest. What are your pronouns?
I hate it because I can't see anything and I don't know how to see anything.
I'll tell you. I'm gonna read chat out to you. Don't worry.
Okay.
Your pronouns are she, her, or do you also use that we?
They, them is lovely. It's lovely for plurality. It's also lovely for gender. They, them is lovely.
Okay. Preferred they, them.
But if you say she, we don't care either.
I'm going to use they because I am a they. I am a they bee. So I got you.
And we tell people it's like, well, for plurality, it's nice. But then we figured out we were gender queer, and we're like, yeah, they, them is just nice. Period.
I don't have a gender query flag that says they, them. I'm sorry. Anyway, welcome in Story Recap Twitch. What an interesting first message, but surprisingly wholesome at the end because I was a little concerned at the wording. But it says, "Hey, hope you are doing ... Well, I didn't realize you were one of those people." And I was like, what the fuck? Sorry to go off, but not all of us are the same, and we aren't all as beautiful as you. You beautiful people are taking all the followers from us. No, that's so silly. No, there's plenty of lovely viewers to go around. Worry not, and I'm sure you are beautiful in your own way, inside and out. So thank you so much for your kind words, and welcome in to our community. Welcome in All Talk Place Queer Safe Space. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're taking care of yourself out there. As I remind myself before it happens to mute my alerts, so the alerts are muted to not interrupt the speaker here. Also, welcome in True Bell System. I'm guessing that you know Wyld's.
That's my boy right there. That's my boy.
That's your boy? Oh, hell yeah. There we go. Yes, we gotta correct the pronouns. Very important. I'm too slow at writing. Going to put the questions at Mental Health Discord to not interrupt. I won't be able to see them, Zorb. I won't be able to see them, so please do type them in chat, and we will get to them when we get to them. So we're not going to get to it right away, so you feel free to type as slow as you want in our chat. And hey, look, it's a receipt for the pizza I just ate. Anyway, don't mind me. So welcome.
And pardon the setting, it's like 100 degrees here.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesus. So, hello, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do.
So we are the System of the Wyld. And yes, it is the System of the Wyld because we're eccentric and poetic and had to have it be more than just the Wyld system. We make TikToks. We didn't really plan to be anything on TikTok. We just started making jokes and people liked it, and it just kind of went from there. We always say we just kind of fell into it. We made jokes and we hoped we made people laugh, and then it became a thing of people asking questions, constantly asking, what about this? Is this normal? Is this normal? Is this normal? And that is how the questioning came into play. Like, we want all the answers. And usually the answer to is it normal is there is no normal. But,
True.
You know, it was a big thing of going, people wanted to know if this was maybe not normal, but if other people experienced it. And that became the basis of just about everything we post is here's an experience so that maybe you can go, oh, I have that experience too, and you won't feel alone.
Yeah, I mean, that's precisely why I do all of this, is just so
Yeah.
people don't feel alone. Because, like, it's okay. We're all a little weird. There's no such thing
Yeah.
as normal. Normal is like this fake thing that that society has projected onto people and said, you must act this way. And it's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a standard that it doesn't exist. Like, nobody
Right.
is normal. There's not a single person out there that's normal.
Absolutely.
It's not an option. There is no such thing.
And if there is someone that is normal, I feel like it's just boring, frankly.
In all honesty, if I find somebody who seems perfectly normal, they're the ones I'm worried about murdering me.
Right? I'm just like, you good?
If you're weird and openly admitting that you have mental health problems, I'm less scared of you.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the
Like,
again the point of the community, and most of the people in the community, they're like, yes, I deal with all this shit in my brain. I'm like, hey, us too, welcome.
us too. Yeah, like let's be normally weird together.
Yeah.
And then, additionally, being a system, like we always say, when you're a system, you've jumped off whatever cliff some sort of normal was,
Right.
and you are now deep diving in an ocean of just weird, and there's no limit. There's no limit.
But that's only once you discover you're a system.
True.
Because that's the other half of it. I mean, though, before you...
It's happening, even though you don't know about it.
That's true. It is still happening, and you just start normalizing things for yourself, I
mean, it's things, again, it's things like just the simple thing of going, I have people in my head. That's something that is a thought that we lived with. And I guess this goes into just how we figured it out.
Yeah. When I go...
That thought of having those people in your head is something we lived with for so long and inherently knew that it was weird. So we knew not to talk about it.
Ooh.
And then...
because the shame, right?
Yeah, again, it's something we've seen in a community of traumatized people, of people with schizophrenia and DID and the like, where it's like, at a very young age, I understood the concept of you can't say this or they will take you away.
Yeah.
Like men with white jackets, the men with white jackets are coming.
Yeah, there's this phrase that a lot of people use. And if you've been traumatized, then you've probably heard this a lot in your childhood, but where you're always told that, like, oh, you're an old soul, or you're just like, you're so mature for your age. That just means you've been traumatized. Congratulations.
Just did a TikTok about that.
Yeah.
We used somebody else's sound, another system sound, talking about that my mom shouldn't have been surprised. I excelled at everything, even trauma. I'm excellent at everything, even trauma. Like,
yikes.
I couldn't just take this trauma and be regular. I had to go A+. And I have a friend who's always saying, I'm in AP therapy. I'm winning in therapy. I'm winning.
Hell yeah. Always win in therapy. So when did
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so when did you, like, what age did you first, like, start, like, questioning or, like, kind of, or, like, trying to figure stuff out?
So for us and for a lot of systems we know, there's this weird, like, timeline of awareness that you go through, and it can be sped up by the surroundings you're in. Obviously, right. The number one thing is you are probably not going to find out the level of your system the way like we have, where we know everybody, we know what's going on, we know how it all functions, everything is out in the open.
Yeah, you're not going to find that out initially.
You're not going to find that until, and this is number one, you have to be safe.
Right, exactly.
If you are not in a safe and secure place, it doesn't matter how much therapy you do. You're only going to be able to get so far because that safety is number one.
My same thought exactly, because I'm just like, literally, you can't know that you're a system until you're in a space where you're allowed to know that you're a system, and then you can start processing,
Well, and this is the crazy thing. So we talk a lot about younger systems nowadays.
Yes.
And a lot of people will say, well, if you're 16 and you're saying you already know you're a system, you're faking. I could have told you at 16 if somebody had given me the vocabulary.
Yeah, I was about to say. I really.
But I knew it was going on because
Right.
I was 13 when I told my mom, and this was the first time I ever admitted any of this. But I knew before that. The first time I ever told my mom was when I was 13. I came to her and I said, Mom, it's like there's just this mean lady who lives in my head.
Oh my God.
And all she does is just tell me how awful I am and how terrible I am and how I should commit, unaliving and I should hurt myself and just constantly yelling at me. And my mom even remembers I used to always act like she was right here. I'd be like, she's like always just yelling at me.
Yeah, just off on the stage left,
Yeah, like just right there and actually down. And it's funny because that is true. Everybody had before we had a real inner world, everybody just had kind of a spatial reasoning area. Depending on who was sitting in the chair would tell you who was going to be around what. But I was like, Mom, what do I do about this?
Right.
And my mom, being the absolutely amazing mom that she is, my dad, whole other story, but my mom, being the amazing human she is, looks at me and says, I love it, being the hippie that she is, looks at me and says, well, what does she look like? And let's give her a face and let's give her a name so you can tell her to shut the fuck up.
I love her. I love it.
And I think about that.
Yeah.
By the time we were 20 years old, we had a 7-man crew.
Wow.
Now, get it? That's 7. We're at 23 now.
Oop.
There's a lot of trauma holders that were still back there.
Yeah.
But we knew that there were 7 of us here, and that we had to work together. And it's like that all started because my mother said, let's give her a name and a face. And Lucy said, give me, this is what I look like. And my name is Lucy. And I was like, her name is Lucy. Lucy. She looks like this. And my mom was like, okay, well, shut the fuck up and leave my kid alone.
So your mom also knew, but again, you just didn't have the language. You didn't have the know-how.
And it worked. Because Lucy for a moment, she went, did somebody just talk to me like that for real? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So then from there, at 13, from there, it went, you're Lucy, you're Joy. Sometimes I am Christy, and sometimes I am MC. And then there's Libby, who's always here, and 2 little girls that run amok everywhere. Scarlett and Samantha. And it was like, okay, everybody has a face. Everybody has a name.
Right.
So I went through ages 13 to, all the way up till 30, till we started getting properly diagnosed for it. As that's the crew. So when we started therapy, it was because MC and I had become aware that there was another alter named Indy. And that in actuality, it wasn't Charlotte and MC who were fronting all the time. It was actually them 2 who were fronting through Indy. And Indy was like, we're going to therapy.
Good for Indy.
None of y'all get to say anything anymore. I'm stuck here. We're going to therapy.
Indy was front stuck.
And she was front stuck
Oh,
for
no.
4 years.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
For
ouch.
4 years, she was front stuck, and at roughly the 4-year mark was when she was like, I cannot do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And part of that was our, again, you know, I'm not going to go into details or anything, but our abuser actually passed away.
Wow.
That made the world significantly safer.
Right, I was going to say, that's a
Instantly.
fucking weight.
It wasn't, because the abuse wasn't continuing. We were
Right.
in a safe place.
Right.
And that it was one of those things where we were going, why can't we get over all of this crap? Like, if there's nothing, like, what is going on? The minute that happened, it's like, okay,
Shock.
everybody, let's talk about what happened these past 35 years.
Yeah, we
You know?
we can breathe a little bit now.
And then it literally was, I mean, just boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Everything just came exploding apart. It became Indy going, I don't want to be on this medication anymore. We stopped the medication, and all of a sudden Indy's not front stuck anymore. And we can start switching freely.
Wow.
Then it became, you know, oh my gosh, everybody's got to try fronting. Everybody's got to try fronting. Within a matter of that, it was, okay, well, we have a code of conduct, and Lucy, you're not obeying code of conduct. So what'd she do? She merged with Joy and made a whole Lacey.
Whoa.
For us. Because she's like, I don't got to be mean anymore. I don't need to be mean anymore.
Wow.
And Joy doesn't need to be so naive. And so they made Lacey, and Lacey is our social manager now. She's the one that does all of that stuff. Like, she's big on like, she knows the TikTok stuff.
That is fucking, I'm sorry, that's just like wild and like really cool to me. Cause like, I mean, that's the whole point, right? Like, if effectively DID is just a giant coping mechanism, you know, very advanced coping mechanism.
It is.
And literally they're like, hey, I don't have a function anymore to be mean.
So I'm done.
So let's make a deal, other alter, and merge. And they're like, yeah, okay. And then they do. And then it fucking just works out. Like, that's so cool.
It's even weird to talk about that, because like our first merge was really weird for us. We didn't anticipate this happening. We had told our therapist, you know, we don't want a fusion. We have no final fusions system that wants that at all.
Right, exactly.
That is system by system desire.
Absolutely. Very personal.
For us, it was a thing of, I mean, we just want to heal.
Yes.
And whatever happens, happens.
Right. For sure.
If one day we all merge together and become one, then I guess that was what it was meant to be.
Sure.
And we just want to keep working toward a better place.
Right.
And with Joy and Lucy, I mean, it came down to, okay, we got diagnosed, posted one TikTok and was like, the complications with trying to dress properly to represent a bunch of different alters at a social event. Like, you can't, like, this one wants to wear this and this one wants to wear this. And we were like, okay, there's 5 of us. It's fine. There's 5 and then 2 littles. We're cool. And it was literally right before it opened up even more that, again, Lucy's like, Lucy always felt like a very whole alter. She had her own face, she had her own name, she had her own feelings, she had all of this stuff. Joy, for a long time, was just this ball of glitter. Like, that was it. Like a sentient ball of glitter.
Would you say she was like a figment?
I wouldn't even say, she was like a fragment. Yeah,
a
like
fragment. Sorry, I had the wrong term.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
You know what I meant, though. Yeah.
They're all figments. Oh god.
Figment fragment. Oh my god.
Yeah, so like, while Lucy, and that's one of the things, like Lacey has even said, she's like, I don't know that I wasn't Lacey before. And that actually broke And then it was just coming back together.
Wow.
She's like, I feel like that's kind of more what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I love the way that, we always love the way that Lacey explains it. She's like, it's like 1 minute I was hugging my sister Joy and telling her that I would protect her. And she was telling me that she would love me. And then the next minute I was Lacey. And we're like, Steven Universe. Okay. Like,
Right. I was like, aw.
you know, and Lacey
Love
will say, she's like, I feel like she's very in tune with that idea that she can feel that little joy fragment
Mm-hmm.
in her. And she's like, and that simultaneously scares her because she's like, that means it could come back apart.
Could.
And she's like, but there's no need for it. Then there's no need for it. We're fine.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. But, you know, again, like, I hate to relate everything to Steven Universe, but
Oh, no.
gee,
Trust me, Steven Universe is one of my special interests, so please do.
it is. That is a good representation of a lot of things.
Yes,
A lot.
it
Like,
is.
it's what we'll say, like, something is headspacey, and just meaning, like, it kind of makes you think of what it's like. Just imagine the entire land is just headspace.
Yeah.
And every single person is an altar. There you go. There's DID right there.
That's wild.
Just a
Yeah.
bunch of protectors and caregivers trying to take care of the town.
Yeah. Yeah. And they each have their own unique way of doing it. Some want to run away, some want to turn into a giant lady, you know.
Giant woman.
Giant
Yes.
woman.
But yeah, like, so for us, it was that, and then after she fused, then it was, hey, there's that. I love how the brain won't, like, they, you know, it's the idea is your brain won't reveal to you anything you're not ready to handle.
Right.
And I feel like our brain did a really good job of that, because at first it was like, hey, yes, there's people. Okay. Hey, there are more people you don't know. Okay.
Sure. Okay. Fine. Can't accept.
People can merge. Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then it was, hey, Charlotte, you're not Christy, you're Charlotte.
Oh.
Okay. So there's no core. There's no, but we're all protecting each other. Okay. And then the brain was like, oh yeah, by the way, your brother's in here. Your brother's in there. Also an elf. There's an elf. Yeah. Actually, you know that altar that you've known for a long time, and she always wears a hood? She wears a hood because she is an elf.
Oh.
Okay. All right. And then it was, hey, time to meet Shay.
Who's Shay?
Shay has only eyes, no nose, mouth is tied shut.
Oh, symbolism.
So what is Shay? Shay is scary.
Okay, Shay.
Actually, Shay is not. Shay is amazing. And then it was, oh yeah, by the way, there's also a centaur.
Cool.
In a spaceship, we have a centaur on a spaceship with an elf and a darkling. Okay.
Sure. Why not?
Oh, and that one's a Spice Girl? Yeah, really, a Spice Girl.
I mean, you can have fictives.
And my brother.
Yeah.
So we have like, it's funny because we have a few of us that.
Listen, the Enterprise did it. You can do it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's funny because it's that was one of those things where we're like, we use the TikTok audio. That's weird. How many of these things did we obsess about?
Right.
How many of these things were things we loved? And then you just get into this loop of, Did I love them so I created them, or did they get created so I loved them? I have no idea. But
Hard to say. I mean, sometimes it's that, you know, hyperfixations do turn into new fictive.
And
Oh, hi.
see, and we have to think about that too.
Yeah.
We have this kind of funny thing that we just recently went through, which is the idea, and we've always said this, the idea that every single alter in a system is technically an introject.
What is an introject in this instance?
An introject is an alter that is based on an outside source.
Sure.
So, like, for instance, I have an alter that his name is Brian, but he is a literal copy of my brother when he was about 17, 19.
Mm-hmm.
Our biggest protector. And that would be an introject. He's based off of my brother.
Okay.
Fictives are introjects.
Sure.
Not all
yes.
introjects are fictives,
right,
but all fictives are introjects.
Squares, rectangles, got it.
So we say, technically speaking, every alter is an introject because you draw from all the things around you to figure out what it is that you need to deal with what you're doing. And we just had this realization that if we, like, we're like, if introjects are such a thing, why do we not have Grumpy Bear? Okay.
Grumpy Bear?
We don't have Grumpy Bear. We don't have Grumpy Bear, but we do have someone who really loves the color blue, is entirely moody and emotional, and they're who you go to when you're sad.
Sorry, who's Grumpy Bear?
Grumpy Bear from the Care Bears.
Oh, I love the Care Bears.
He was huge for us. Grumpy Bear was huge for us because we were always like, aww, we just want to be able to be sad and that be okay.
Aww.
And so Grumpy was like, big time. And I'm like, why do we not have Grumpy?
I feel that.
I would love to have a giant Care Bear altar. That would be wonderful.
You do have a Grumpy of sorts, you find out.
And it's like, oh my gosh, if you look at some of our altars, they literally have so many characteristics that share. And one of our favorites was, see, my son brought me here.
That's so sweet.
He's so important to us. And it's so funny because MC, if you took a Grumpy Bear and then you took Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast, the candlestick, there's MC right there.
Wow.
That's him. Like I mean, it was one of those things like we can't unsee it now.
Yeah.
Charlotte loves the name Charlotte. She is the mama of the group. She does all of the ins and outs of making sure the kids get everything that they need.
That's great.
We absolutely love Charlotte's Web.
There you go.
I'm like, okay, so everybody's an introject. That's what we're...
Yeah, I mean, that just makes sense, I guess, yeah.
I feel like because I'm old.
Sure.
I say that, I'm old.
Are you old?
I'm in 86. I was born in 86.
You're not much older than me.
I feel like our media was so saturated with two-dimensional characters.
True.
Like our characters didn't have a lot of depth.
Right.
So the idea that younger systems now growing up with media that the characters have so much more depth, that is easier for a part of you to go, oh, I identify with that.
Yes.
And then they just suck it up like a sponge. Mm-hmm. Whereas for us, it's like, oh, well, you're kind of like Grumpy Bear, kind of like Lumiere. Well, you're kind of like Charlotte from Charlotte's Web, and like Fran Drescher from The Nanny.
It's more symbolic, unconscious, representative than direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
I get that. That makes sense. That's an interesting. I like this. This is your PhD, by the way. This is a PhD that you could make actually, regarding about how older systems have alters that are like more in these kind of categories of like two-dimensional characters that are more like metaphorical representations of characters, and then DID systems that are younger and like were born in like these years onward have more like fully fleshed, or they have a lot, maybe have a lot more fictives, just straight up fictives. Yeah.
Not only that, but like the idea that because older systems like us are now on TikTok talking about these experiences,
Yeah.
there are a lot of younger systems that are able to put more of the pieces together than we were.
Which is awesome.
When we were young, we would have never made the jump, because at the time it was still MPD at the time. When we would have never made the jump to that ever. But if we had seen other people talking about it and saying they had MPD, we would have been like, oh my gosh, that's what's going on.
Right.
And that would have been at 13 years old.
Wow. Yeah. And that would have been fucking amazing to have, but and it sucks that you didn't have that, but on the other hand, it's awesome that those terms are available to people. It's awesome that people can find this information.
I hesitate and I worry because I do feel like when you learn that you're a system at a very young age, at a younger age, and you have the access to the terms, to the ways to do communication and the ways to work.
I'm hearing a but. I know with a but.
I hesitate because there's a lot of I hate this. Okay.
It's not where I thought you were gonna go with it. I thought
back up and go into the science just a little bit in order to explain my hesitation.
Can I say the but first?
Yes.
The but in this case, I think what you were alluding to, or at least this is my assumption, is, while you might know at an early age that you have DID or your DID system, but that might not be a good thing, because you might still not be in a safe space, especially if you're living under your parents' house, and if your parents are your abusers, now you don't really have access.
A brain that now knows it can do that.
That too.
A self-aware system knows that the brain can be manipulated.
Sure. Makes it a coping mechanism, which is good and bad.
Good and bad.
But mostly I'm coming from the angle of concerned of like, great, but you don't have access to the resources that you need. You don't have access to a therapist, potentially, and you're potentially not even safe to know right now.
It could be frustrating.
Yeah.
At the very
becomes super frustrating. At the very least, yeah.
So the other thing is, the other thing to that, my hesitation is, when you talk about DID, we're talking about episodic memories being stored in different parts of the brain.
Right.
So
full amnesia barrier stuff.
I always say it's a terrible analogy, but it's an accurate analogy, and that is the movie Inside Out.
Okay.
That is how a person's personality is created, by these core memories that are collected. What you see in Inside Out is literally the process that normal brains go through of figuring out that those core memories are full of different kinds of emotions, not just good.
Right, absolutely.
So, technically, when in the movie, the first memory that depression touches, Riley didn't actually remember the bad side of that memory until depression touched it. So everybody goes through that, where all of a sudden you remember some of the bad things that did happen. And you're like, whoa, that right there is a representation of a normal brain. All of the individual islands of personality go down, and it comes back up as this one island of personality that's still got these parts and components.
Right.
But it's one place.
Right.
However, at the end of the movie, you also see that there's this one big island, and then there's a bunch of little islands, right? Those little islands change.
Yes.
this big one will not change
Stays
unless something crazy happens to affect the core
right.
of your person. But the little islands, your interests
Yeah,
and
it's like
who you are as
interests,
a
and it's like you're testing
person,
it out. Do I want to add it to the main island? You know.
all of that stuff. Some of those islands will go down and others will come back up, and some of them will join the main part of the identity and some of them won't. They're gonna fade in and out until you're actually like an adult, and then it's like you're still gonna have some islands that change.
Right.
However, during teenage years is when you have the most of those little islands.
Mhm.
You're trying out everything.
Yeah, I mean the whole teenage.
Everything.
There's a theory in psychology which is called, oh my god, it's one of my fucking easy clicks here. No, it's not. Anyway, there's a theory of psychology that basically is like you go through different age stages. I think it's I'm gonna get it wrong, but basically you go through different age stages. That was not supposed to pull up on that screen. And the age stage between 13 and 18 is literally you're forming your identity, you're forming who you want to be as a person, which just makes sense. Yes, that's what people go to, but yeah.
And so like people always say it's before the age of 9. In all honesty,
there's that too.
What I'd love to do is really just be able to prove what I believe is true, which is it's literally the ages of 9 to 12 that core is identified. And you have to say 9 to 12 because what it really depends on is puberty. The core of your main identity is established before puberty.
Right.
Then puberty brings on all of the teenage, like you were saying, like the 15 to 17
stages of psychological. It's called Stages of Psychological Development by Erickson. It was Erickson. I was correct. Trust myself. Yeah. So. Yeah.
So
all that
essentially,
mm-hmm.
in a person without DID, the ability to navigate throughout those different islands
mm-hmm.
is super easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can all be lit up at different times. They can be lit up at the same times, whatever. When you're talking about a person who has DID or is a system, those individual islands don't merge. Mm-hmm. There is no core one island. They stay individualized
mm-hmm.
and have to be accessed differently.
Mm-hmm.
When you become a functioning system like we are, what we say is like now our islands have all moved like side by side.
Right, but it's still not one.
Close to each other, but it's not one. It's not one. What we fear with younger systems is that when we look back at our teenage years, there's obviously not a lot of awareness of what was going on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So we have no idea how many alters we gained and lost between 15 and 17.
And that might be a good thing to not know?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because it's like every time you lose when an alter goes dormant or they merge or they split, it is this.
It's a trauma, right?
I don't know that I would call it a trauma.
Okay.
But it's definitely hard.
It's an event.
Definitely difficult. It's an event. And it's an emotionally taxing event.
Yeah.
A very energy taxing event as well.
Right.
And when you get because you get to know them and then they're gone.
Right.
It is very similar to losing somebody in the real world.
Exactly.
And how many of those were we not aware of? Yeah. And so we don't have to carry this grief with us. So it's like, I want to encourage you all, because also knowing that person inside your head that's screaming at you to hurt yourself is a persecutor, and they're just trying to do a job, and you can ignore them.
Yep.
And you can tell them to shut up, that's empowering. That
Absolutely.
is powerful at that age. For me to be
Agree.
able to know that I could tell her to shut up, it gave my mom gave me confidence. And
Yeah.
I'm
Which
like,
is
that's
awesome.
empowering. But how much is too much before we're now causing extra problems?
Right.
And of course, it sucks because it's like, I'm probably never going to stop encouraging people to figure it out. But at the same time, I'll always have that resistance of like, I don't know, are we doing the right thing? Because I also feel like that definitely, in my opinion, systems in particular are very vulnerable when it
I
comes to
agree.
being taken advantage of.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I have mom friends who are like, oh, I wouldn't tell my kids that I was a system because then they take advantage of it. And I'm like, really? And they're like, oh, yeah, they'd say so and so told them they could. I'm like, not mine. They'd,
I mean, it
well,
also
maybe
depends
that's
on the system, right? If there is
yeah,
communication, if there's amnesia barriers, everything
yeah.
matters in that way.
That's it. The mom that I'm referencing, they still have a lot of amnesia
There you
barriers.
go. Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna share it till and I'm like, I get that. But even younger kids, I feel like we get like the whole body age thing
Yeah.
and alter age.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, there are too many people out there to take advantage of that. And
True.
when you're a younger system who feels like who has an older alter and feels older, it's system responsibility. That body is still not old enough.
Yeah, no, holy shit. Can we like fucking sidebar for a second about how TikTok is literally an adult site that's advertised to kids? I'm sorry, like,
You know what? Okay, here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll
yeah,
say about the whole situation.
yeah,
My child is on TikTok.
sure.
Um,
Like you
my
can curate
my
your
child
content that you see, but
my child
it's wild.
knows what inappropriate content is.
Yeah, absolutely,
Knows to scroll.
absolutely.
Um, it's one of those things where I'm going. I allow my child on TikTok because he was raised in a house where, again, we're sex positive,
Yeah,
we're
sure,
LGBTQ affirming,
absolutely.
we're body positive, we're
Similar,
all of these things.
right?
So it's
Exactly.
not like he doesn't understand that the world is like that.
Right.
But before he ever got on the internet, we had the talk. You
Good.
are to not you do not speak to anyone you don't know
Please don't.
and
My
tell
good.
them anything about you.
Stranger fucking danger, and corporations are the number one fucking stranger.
Like,
Oh,
period. I don't ever want to see that you're talking to somebody that they know where you live.
right. Yeah. Scary
And
shit.
we taught him that when he was like 5 years old,
You
getting on
have to. But
YouTube.
you have to in this day and age. You fucking have to. You have to have those talks about internet safety at super young ages because kids are being given devices super fucking young. You know?
And additionally, I am absolutely all for kids having their own privacy.
Yeah. Of
I came
course. It's
from a mom
important.
who was like, I'm not gonna read your diary.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, I'm
No.
not
That's
interested in
ridiculous.
what you're doing with your friends.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Kids,
Same
can I say something about kids having privacy?
Oh yeah.
Because I think giving a kid a sense of privacy and a sense of security is so fucking important for the development of basically confidence and the know-how to be like, I can say no, kind of thing. Because that's really what it is. You're teaching them self-respect and advocacy in a way.
And I'm big on that. Like, my kid is 13. I knock on their door. Like, I've been knocking
Yeah,
on that kid's door since he was like 6.
that's awesome of you.
That's the minimal amount of privacy. That's my thing is, just because they're children does not mean they're not autonomous human beings.
Exactly. Oh
Like,
my
they
God.
are autonomous
Yes.
human beings.
Yes.
And unfortunately, for the first like 5 years of their life, they're autonomous human beings constantly having their autonomy ripped away.
Yeah,
We dress them, we move them, we pick them up, we tell them no, we put
for
them in this,
sure.
that, and the other.
And a
They
lot
have
of
no
that,
ability to do
right.
anything.
And they have no wherewithal. But the other part of that is that you're literally like taking care of them. And if you did not, they would, self die. Like,
Yeah.
have you met a toddler? They're very good at trying to kill themselves.
You want to like
They don't know any
parents
better.
why your kid gets so angry, and it's like, I think I was just watching a video of this lady on TikTok that I adore. She's like, we don't ask them permission to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
How mad would you be if you
Right.
always had to do what somebody said you had to do?
Yeah.
And you were not allowed to question it, not allowed to say anything. And I'm like, exactly.
Yeah, you'd be so mad. And that's why I think it's important just to be open and honest with kids. They understand a lot more than you fucking give them credit for. Don't just say, do this thing. Say, hey, I would like you to do this thing, and here's why.
I used to say this. We used to write a mommy blog,
Mm-hmm.
and it was actually pretty popular.
Hell yeah.
And the big thing we always talked about was consistency. It really doesn't matter what your plan is, as long as you're consistent with it.
Yep. Kids love fucking structure. They crave it.
Whatever it is you're going to do, like it's going to be different depending on the kid. It's going to be different depending on the family. It's going to be different. Like, it's your game plan. Just stick to it.
Yeah.
Don't abandon it halfway through and try to find another game plan. Just stick to the one you got. And one of the big things we used to say is, please do not tell your kids because I said so.
Please don't. Yeah.
Please do not tell your kids because I said so. And I said, at least if you're gonna say because I said so, at least follow it up with a why.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to say to my kid, I would say, well, one, because I told you to and I'm your mommy, and you got to listen to me because I'm the one that keeps you safe.
Yep.
But two, you don't touch the stove because it's hot. And if you touch it, you will burn your hand.
Right.
Offer them that, like, if you tell them why no, they are going to comprehend that better than just no. And you can still say, I need you to know that when I say stop, I mean it immediately. You've got to listen to me because I'm here for your safety.
Right. Exactly.
So yes, I do need you to know that if I say no or I say stop, that is a moment where you have to go, this is my mom. I know she cares for me. She wants to keep me safe. I need to stop.
Right. Absolutely.
But I'm not just going to leave you hanging there.
Because when you treat your kids with respect, guess what? They respect you back. Wild, that. Anyway, I fucking love you as a parent already. Like, adopt me. Fucking.
If you want your kid to listen to you, try listening to them.
Listen to your fucking kid, please. Good Lord. You're a breath of fresh air, and I love it.
I don't know, like, and it's crazy because I tell people that's why we do the mom thing on TikTok. It's because we had a good mom. We had a great mom. My mom is the one that taught us all this.
Which is awesome. And
she's just as crazy as we are because she got a touch of the ADHD too. But she was the one that taught me, like, your feelings matter.
Yeah.
Your feelings and your thoughts matter.
Hey, Mr. Rogers, though.
I love it. Like, all of this because narcissistic husband and dad.
Oh, God.
Like.
No, thank you.
He's like, I want you to know your feelings matter to me, even if they don't matter to him. Like.
Oh, Lord.
I'm like, yeah. My mom is a big time hippie. I love her to death.
She's great.
She's amazing. And so that's why we started doing the mom thing, because we're like, I got more mom backup if we need it. Like, hell
yeah.
My mom will come through for anybody and be like, Mama's here. Yeah. Like, I definitely got to protect the kids. And it's
for sure.
It's one of those things where that extends out to everybody. I've always been about kids. I like dealing with kids. Kids are honest.
Yeah,
Kids don't play games. I would
that's
much
true.
rather deal with a bunch of children than a bunch of adults.
When you put it that way, yes, and that's why I just tell people be direct. Like,
Christine, you're such a saint for keeping all of the kids while us adults had dinner. Really?
you adults
Did
are
you
a
hear
lot
the
more
dinner
work than these kids are, though.
Did you hear? Were you there for the dinner conversation? We talked about Pokemon. It was great.
Right.
It
What's
was
your
great.
What's your favorite Pokemon?
Charmander.
Fair. Good classic.
Charmander. I love it because as soon as I say Charmander, somebody else goes, no. Okay, so it comes down to 3 of them.
No?
Charmander.
Okay.
Jigglypuff.
That's fair.
And Ditto.
Nice. I'd like...
Charmander. Charmander's like the episode where Charmander is discovered.
Oh
where
yeah,
he's
it's so
out in the
sad.
rain.
It's so sad.
That was it for us. We were sold.
Yeah.
That's it. I love you, baby.
The
baby
baby
little fire
Charmander.
flame. Yeah. Like, I will always love you. And I still have a Charmander card from
Aw.
like 5th grade.
That's great.
Pokemon card.
My favorite Pokemon is Snorlax because he's large and
Oh.
loves to eat.
I tell my husband all the time he's a Snorlax.
And then my second favorite Pokemon is obviously Wobbuffet, because I've called myself Waba for many fucking years.
I did not get it until I went on a Discord call with you and
Oh
could
no,
see
yeah, you see my yeah,
it's
my picture is a Wobbuffet. It's the one that turned commissioned behind my back for me. One of my mods commissioned this emote. It's on my emotes now. But he commissioned it behind my back without my knowledge, and he just presented it to me. I was like, "What the fuck? That's so wholesome." Like, what the hell?
See, and we picked up being called Jigglypuff from our nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
That has always been a big thing. We sing. We sing.
I also sing
and
a lot.
we put babies to sleep. That is our like. You got a baby that won't sleep?
Aw.
Right here. Give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5
and I'll have
minutes.
that baby asleep.
That's cute. That's so wholesome.
That's me and my brother and his wife and my husband. We used to all live together, and my sister-in-law struggled at bedtime with them because her
Yeah.
kids were very one more story. I was big on, there are 2 of them and 1 of my own. You each pick 1 song.
Mhm.
You get 1 song apiece, and then I will sing 1 song for all of you. And then we're
Right.
going to bed.
Right.
Only 1 kid ever made it to the last song, and that's because the kid he loves music. And he would make it to the last song, and when I'd get done, I'd go, "Good night, baby," and he'd go and go to sleep.
Aw,
He just wanted to hear all the songs before he went to bed.
that's cute.
But the other 2, mine and my oldest Niblet, they'd be out before the first song.
Mhm.
I'm like, yep, Jigglypuff. I just sing and put people to sleep.
That's
And then
fucking
Ditto's a
adorable.
favorite because if you ask a system, what superpower would you like? We're all going to say shape-shifting.
Yeah. True.
There's no superpower that would be greater than that.
Honestly, yeah, it'd be convenient, right? Because that way no one has to like mistake you for someone else.
Yeah. Essentially get to live a more your life anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it is just comfort. It is weird to have like wings and horns and teeth and not have them here.
For sure. I would imagine there's a dysphoria, basically.
It's like a weird missing limb kind of thing. Like
Mhm.
it's weird. It's weird. I remember the first time we have a centaur,
Mm-hmm.
and the first time she ever fronted for therapy, she couldn't sit down. She was too antsy. And so she had to stand up, and she was standing. And the way she was standing, our therapist was like, "You're the centaur, aren't you?" And she was like, "How would you know that?" She's like, "Just the way you're standing, I can almost see exactly where the back of your end would be." Just the way you're standing.
That's great.
And I'm like, didn't know I stood weird. Sorry. Yeah, you stand like as if you're missing hind end, you know?
Wow.
It's weird.
It's wild. That makes sense, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. Like I said, that you've got this memories being bubbled and stored in different places as opposed to where it's supposed to be, and they develop on their own identity and their own thing.
So I was
And
promised a brain chemistry lesson. So brain chemistry lesson us. Let's go.
all right. So, what a brain does whenever it's dissociating is the area of the posterior medial cortex is what oscillates this 3 megahertz signal, and it slows down the hippocampus and the amygdala.
Okay.
Now, the rest of this is theory based on research,
Right.
but this is our theory.
Okay.
We know that hippocampal volume is smaller in people with DID.
Okay.
We also know that the synapses in the temporal lobes light up more in people with DID.
Okay.
A lot of people with DID get diagnosed as temporal lobe epileptics because there's this energy going on but they can't quite say it's full-blown seizures. So it's a lot of PNES going on.
Okay.
Our theory is that what the brain is actually doing is, instead of storing all of those episodic memories into the hippocampus and into the normal storage place, it's actually storing them in the temporal lobes along other memory lines in the brain. So that's why we see that action going on in the temporal lobes. That's why a lot of people who are systems, but they have not uncovered all of their alters, have episodes of what looks like seizures.
Yeah.
Shaking and twitching and freezing and all of that stuff. When you don't really understand what's going on in here, it looks like seizures. It can look exactly like a lot of the temporal lobe seizures, especially like the atonic ones where you just lose your body. A lot of tonic-clonic shaking, but people are still kind of conscious of what's going on. So it's like, okay, it's not a seizure, but you're definitely convulsing. And the only way that we've ever thought about it is, and
It's like a violent switch.
Yeah, like, okay, so
Which I've seen once.
We have Libby.
Mm-hmm.
We have Libby, and Libby she's like our librarian. She's like the master of all the information. Whenever we first got Libby, kind of like starting to tell us the truth of things,
yeah,
it wasn't too much longer that we got Ziggy going, if this is how the system works, and this is how a brain functions, then this has got to be a representation of this.
Right.
So basically it boiled down to, what is Libby? Libby is a personification of the amygdala. That's it.
Wow.
It was necessary for us to personify that because we needed to know who was in control of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Had to keep record, so the brain went double time and said, okay, well, here, little elf, little Vulcan elf, be logical and make us a library, because we need to remember things.
Makes sense.
And the more we started mapping out our headspace, you know, I've told you, I know a lot of people that know us know this, that we're a spaceship. We've always been a spaceship. I mean, we've not always been a spaceship, but that's always been a similar vibe. When we were little, we're Power Rangers Megazord. All the parts come together, we sit in this part, and we all fight together. That's what we do.
Right. By the way, if I start saying ouch, my cat's currently sitting on me and looking very nice, but he's also sharp.
I'm gonna have a dog here in just a second. So I'm like, oh, I can't get in. So when we started mapping everything out, what we really were like super surprised about is that our headspace looks like a brain.
You were surprised about that?
Yes. I mean, we weren't surprised, but kinda. Like, we were like, oh, we're a spaceship. And then the more we learned about the spaceship, I mean, just hold on, give me a second, because I had a dry erase board and I forgot to bring it out here.
Okay. This is exciting. Hi, Sky. Do you have something to say to everyone? No? He just wants to be cute. He wants to be held. He might want food. I'm not sure. How we doing, by the way, chat? If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can type Q:, space, and then your question, and I can pop it up on stream all cool like. I really don't want to hold this cat. Sky, I love you, but I don't want to hold you forever. He's like, but Dad, I love you. It's okay, son. Frankie will be home soon. Frankie's my partner, for those who don't know. And he works all fucking day and night. So I work all day and night. Case coordinator by day. Content creator by night. It is I, Super Waba. Off to spread mental health wellness to the world. Oh, goodbye, Sky. Ba 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 ba. I'm waiting. We're gonna get a whiteboard.
Okay. Back, and now I have a doggo to keep me company. Okay, gotta get down now. Free girl. Oh, you want to go back inside? Okay. Or you want to go play?
Hello, welcome back.
Okay. So.
Yes.
This is essentially our headspace, our spaceship.
I see it. I already see it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So then from this, it's like here, right here, is where Libby's office is, and she's got like all of the data.
And Libby's the amygdala.
Underneath her is the actual data processor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Then you go down this long elevator, and down here are two. They're they're holograms. One is D'Artagnan and one is Ileana, and all they do is collect and organize data. Parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Because one of them is fight flight, and one of them is freeze fawn. One of them's like let's chill, and one of them's like analyze everything.
Fight. It's, by the way, I have a theory. I have a psychology for you.
This area right here is the front room. It's the bridge.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
How interesting.
And then all of this here on the sides are the crew quarters. And so this is part of what plays into our theory of the fact that the episodic memories are being stored in the temporal lobes.
Yep.
Is that we meet a lot of systems where their rooming is on left and right side.
Mm-hmm.
And then this lovely little area right here, that's the holodeck. And in the center is the core computer area where Deep Thought is. And Deep Thought is like he's like our system, like our highest commander.
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting that he is dead center in the middle, and that is also our holodeck. So, real close to the pineal gland and its whole like eyeball features. So, our brain,
the monkey brain.
Our brain mapped out a brain.
Your brain did map out a brain, because I'm literally looking at a brain diagram and I'm like, this is pretty fucking close.
Like, and it's interesting. Like I said, the more we start looking at this, and then we started asking other people, what does your headspace look like? And the more we look at people's headspaces, the more you see that pattern over and over and over again. Of the front rooms up front, and bedrooms are right and left, and meeting areas are in the middles. And it's like brain really just said, let's name our parts. And for us, it comes down to, again, I think some of this is the ADHD as well. I don't think everybody has these parts that are like holograms. I don't think that everybody does, but I think our brain was like, we need to understand. I don't know that everybody has a data clerk that's underneath the data person. We were like, gotta break it down. Need to know every inch. Like, there's got to be somebody there. If there's some process going on, there's got to be somebody there. And again, even when we break down our rooming and where everybody's located, it's interesting to find that some of the people that deal with our impulse are like centered right here. And some of the people that deal with our more like deeper traumatic memories are more centered towards the back.
That makes sense.
And they kind of have this patterning that they do. And so, again, using our own brain, we were like, okay, so what's going on? And it's basically, I mean, that's it. If you've got personalities, identities that are needing to be accessed here, 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 and here, but this one right here is a trauma that doesn't need to be accessed yet. Basically, the way Libby explained it is, she's like, I'm the router. I'm the gatekeeper who decides who needs to go when. And if I want to get to this person, I'm going to have to go past this trauma, but I can't light it up. So I'm going to have to reroute it around in order to get to the next one. And that little reroute is that little burst of seizure activity we're seeing. Like, there's these connections that you can't go down this pathway, or it's going to light up a memory that's not supposed to be accessed.
Mm-hmm.
So you constantly have your amygdala rerouting around these trauma memories or these things that you're not supposed to remember. That's going to cause excess brain activity.
Yeah.
It's like a runoff from it not being able to go where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
We've noticed that we do not have near as much of the PNES that we used to have because of the fact that we've gone through therapy and healed our trauma and done all of that accessing. Now it's not a big deal to run through a trauma because we're cool. So you can run through everybody. You can move things around, but that's only once you have access to everybody.
Absolutely.
And until then, you're stuck with a spot in the chain of command that can't be hit. And so
that just makes sense.
So there you go. Friggin' chemistry.
That's pretty. I'm sorry. That's like just fucking super cool to me. That's super fucking cool. You're gonna fucking have like 7 PhDs by the time you're done. Like, goddamn.
Like that's what we want to do. I think it's funny because we've told people, yeah, I think we want to go back to college, and people are like, for what? Psychology? Was that a question? Was that a real question?
Yeah, was that a real question? If they know you at all, like, fucking what?
And that, most of the time they're like, yeah, it was a joke. Like, obviously, we know you're gonna go back for that. But to us, it comes down to, we really want to do the research on systems. We really want to figure it out.
Because we need it. We need the research, frankly.
And I am one of those people where, again, I know we kind of hit on this once before, but like, inner world, making it work for you.
Yes.
The more we understand about what the brain is doing on its own, and it's really interesting how the brain works, because it's like once you get a little bit of structure, brain goes crazy with it and just loves, it soaks up all of that structure. And if we can figure out that structure and where the best place is to have this or that altar,
right,
then we can help people organize their own systems.
The implication from your kind of research basically will eventually trickle down to better practices for how to help someone as a counselor. If someone presents with DID, is like, okay, let's draw like a therapy that might happen because of this is the development of just like system mapping of like, let's draw your system.
Yes.
Like, let's draw where everyone is. Like, okay, you have a house? Sure. Let's draw the house.
And it's again, like, in order to help people to understand their system with especially with their therapist.
Yes.
There's so much misdiagnosis that happens to systems that if the implications of this is that the misdiagnosis will be gone.
No.
People will, it won't be as big of a deal to see, if a therapist
that for sure.
Having convulsions or something like that, they may not necessarily go, oh, you've got epilepsy, let's shove some pills down your throat. How about let's do some brain work and see if there's anything else going on there? There's always a jump to conclusions when it comes to a lot of the symptomage of DID. If we can narrow down exactly what those symptoms look like, they're just better diagnostic tools.
I agree
as well.
entirely. Yeah, that's the other implication.
Not to mention just the sheer curiosity of it all. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is something that we have a lot of. Just, it is interesting to me how it all does what it does. and that it is so flexible and yet so structured. And again, I have lots more theories about the scientific side of it and what exactly I think is going on and all of that. I won't share as many of those because some of those get us into some discourse. But
Was system discourse? Oh no.
I feel like a lot of people are walking around not taking into consideration that just us learning this stuff can help people that aren't actual systems either.
Yep.
In a very big way, what system brains have done is hacked their own brain.
Yeah. Especially if you're aware.
Yeah, once you become aware, then it becomes a serious hacking game. Which again, that is helpful for anybody to be able to understand their brain. There's a reason why IFS is gaining such a big following and people who love it.
What is?
Because IFS, internal family systems therapy.
Oh yeah, it's fucking great because it's easy to fucking understand.
That's the thing is, and I'm sitting here going, if you understand IFS, how do you not understand DID? It's like, I mean, it's like if you're doing IFS therapy, then you absolutely understand what it's like to have DID, except imagine there's no control over it.
Right.
There's no core. Because that's essentially what you're and I think that's what's crazy is that actual systems that core is not established. Essentially, IFS systems are identifying all the parts of their core. There's still a core. If you have DID, the whole point is that there's not a core. That is the whole point.
Really?
Yes. So essentially, like I said, you have all these parts that are episodic memories, and when you get to around pre-puberty, they all merge together to become one core identity.
Well, I have a question.
The basis of systemhood is that you do not form a core identity.
Right. So I have a question then, because what would you even call it then? Because there's a lot of systems in my community that their host is the original person, say so to speak.
I'm holding back a grin because we literally just did a TikTok not too long ago. I don't know if you watch a lot of TikTok.
Not really.
There's an audio going around from Garfield. He's like, "Oh, Garfield, the cable's out." And he's like, "What's wrong with this?" "Garfield, the cable's out. Maybe it needs new batteries." "Listen to me careful, Garfield. The cable is out." Right. "The cable's out?" And we used it to say, why can't I have control of the front? "Oh, host, you're just an alter like the rest of us." Maybe I'm dissociating. "Host, you're just an alter like the rest of us."
No, for sure the host is an alter. There's no left or right about that. It's just that my thought is the host is a core of sorts. Is the OG. I don't know how to say it.
That's the thing is I'm not gonna
not all hosts, but some hosts of some of the systems in my community are the OG person. You know what I mean?
There are definitely systems who identify with the idea of having a core.
Yeah.
Usually it's a host that has been hosting for a long time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think it's actually what you'd call a shell alter. A lot of people would say that Indy is our core in that way because she's the only one that can front with all of us fronting too.
Right.
And so she's like the amalgam of what Christy is.
Right.
For a lot of DID systems, there is no core. We call them iterations. We've had iterations of hosts every few years of our life.
Wow.
In the beginning, it was Shay and 2 Chainz,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2 Chainz took trauma, stepped back. Shay took trauma, stepped back. Then it was Samantha and Scarlett. Then it was Scarlett and B. Then it was B and Charlotte. Then it was Charlotte and MP.
Yeah.
And so it was like these iterations of hosts of basically every time a few years of growing up, and it's like, okay, this is not useful as a host. We need a new host.
No, for sure. That makes sense entirely. I'm sorry. Maybe I should not have. I just don't know how to phrase the question, I guess. I don't have the term for it. I don't know. So I don't know if it's even an important question either, is the other thing, you know?
Well, I think talking about cores is important, but I think it's important for the entire system community to realize that it's kind of the same as final fusion.
Yeah.
Most people assume there's a core. Most people assume you're going for final fusion. But there are
That's not the implication here.
Who don't identify with a core.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people who don't do not want final fusion.
Right.
It's a system by system difference.
No, absolutely. And that's not my point to bring up the idea of a core. It just is like in my mind, like there is a original person, but they are now on one of the alters in their larger system. You know what I mean?
And we've again, a lot of systems walk into it believing that is it, that there's one of us that was the first.
Well,
and so that's
it doesn't even have to be that way though, because if we're talking about
for us, if you talk about who was the first conscious part, then you would say that our core is our computer, Deep Thought.
Yeah.
But he literally does not represent anything about us. He is an asshole. Now he's very smart. And
maybe that's who you were all those years ago. You were just an asshole computer.
So like I said, it's funny because we talk about, like, we have a once upon a time story. And it's the story that Deep Thought orated and told us in order to explain what happened. And it's this beautiful story about twin princesses, and it's amazing. But basically what Deep Thought says is, he's like, well, I was in a brain, and some shit went down.
Right.
And I decided it would probably be best to bring in a couple friends to help me sort this out.
Sounds about right.
And we decided that it would probably be best to create a bunch of friends. So, and again, this goes back to like something that people don't talk about in the community, which is the DSM and how it defines the two different kinds of systems. When we talk about our system, Deep Thought, Libby, and Harley are what you would call a possession style alter. They come from somewhere else. That's what our brain tells us. Libby, Harley, and Deep Thought come from somewhere else.
I have a question just for the record. Do you particularly like the way that the DSM-5 categorizes different alters? Same. Can we just fuck off with it? Because like it's so annoying.
I get what they're going for, and because I do believe there are in systems, you have alters that completely feel like they were created in the brain, and then you have alters that feel like they come from somewhere else. And I don't
Right.
mean an intellect. I mean they feel like they come from somewhere else, and they are just in the brain. And again, how much of that is, we're talking, deep thought is the soul,
Right.
and the soul said, "Oh God, right brain, left brain, we've got to figure something out." And then right brain and left brain,
I have a sound for you now.
right brain and left brain went, what about we create a bunch of different people and have a few of them take the bad times and the rest of them take the good times, and we'll sort it all out in the end.
Why does this just
And
remind me of the oh god, what's the fucking comedian's name? I am the left brain, I am the left brain.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what's funny, is that literally we've gone down to that too, of classifying it as, you can obviously tell some alters are the right brain and some alters are the left brain.
Bo Burnham, thank you. Yeah.
And it's, like this alter is, and it, like I said, it's interesting because we talk about Libby being the amygdala. She is a Vulcan elf. So we said this in her roast, but if you took a Vulcan baby,
Oh, no.
maybe if you took a Vulcan and a Lord of the Rings elf, and they had a baby, and it was raised and trained by a Jedi master,
Ooh.
and then its best friends were like the girls from The Craft.
I'm sorry, are you sure this is a roast? This sounds pretty fucking cool.
Well, we're always like, Vulcan, yeah, she's very logical, also very rigid and hard-headed. She is elfish. She's very wise.
Right.
Also kind of an asshole. kind of a self-inflated asshole. She was trained by a Jedi master, so she is very skilled. She's also kind of a douchebag. And then the Craft, because she looks like a goth and she acts like a witch. And that is all she does is runs data. She literally runs the logistics and tells us the game plan, and is always monitoring everything on all these screens. And I'm sitting here going, "Hi, amygdala. We should have just named you Amy instead of Libby, because that's you." And like, Artie is the hippocampus, and deep thought is the pineal gland, and everybody else, I mean, they're form function parts, and then there are the memory parts. But it's like, yeah, I love it. Sorry, I just got a little bit excited. Ziggy got a little excited. Like, we want to reclassify the DSM to go by naming parts this way.
Yeah.
So while we love protector, caregiver, all of that, it's also the first problem that we had with the words that set us up for never really wanting to, we want to redefine it, because people were like, "Do you have a gatekeeper?" A gatekeeper? We have 7.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We have 7 of us, and they're ranked. Like, this one can gatekeep this one, this one can gatekeep this one.
Right.
And access down. I'm like, gatekeeping is not a role, it's a permission. Additionally, something we always tell people, little is not a role. That's not a role.
No, it's just who they are.
It's just who they are.
I'm
so
like,
a lot of people are like, these are our littles, and I'm like, they are caregivers and protectors and they all have their own thing. Yeah. They're not just littles. Hi. They're not just mids.
Stop
They're more than that.
For sure, absolutely. Because I know a little that is also a caretaker. It's just like, aw.
I mean, we have a little persecutor.
Aw.
It's like, great. She's not quite a persecutor anymore, but
Right.
Although we do, again, we have Harley, who just is
Oh,
completely wonderful, but will always call herself a persecutor because she's like, I'm too bad to not be called a persecutor. I want to own that
aw.
title. Like, that's my title.
Okay.
But we would love to see parts being categorized by what their actual function is.
Yes.
Are they uh, are they an actual like um, are they an episodic memory? Are they an actual memory? Or are they a part of the brain that has been personified? Or are they an emotional state that has been personified? That's pretty much the ranges
You know, it's
of it.
funny when I was a young boy, when I was younger, the way I thought about DAD, because I was young, I was uneducated, right?
Right.
I was a child. I had friends. I had friends that were systems. Um, and one of the first systems that I met, I met two of her alters. And the second alter was like this like complete just emotional, like all they had was contempt and anger for the world, and they just had this like one phrase, and I'm like, all you can really say is that one phrase, isn't it? And I apparently confused them enough, so they switched out and they switched back, because I feel kind of terrible about it nowadays, because I'm like, I effectively just triggered them by questioning their existence.
Yes.
So I feel shit about it now, but like at the time I was just like, yeah, you're like a basic fucking anger bitch. Like, what am I supposed to
Yeah.
do with this? You're not a personality. You're just anger with two
You're so
lines.
good. And that is essentially, again, we've mapped us out. We have index cards all over our bedroom with all our names on them, and we've mapped it out. And it's like, yeah, we have 8 to 10 parts that are full on episodic, like they are a collection of memories. That's what they are. And they range, like we have, the ones that they remember childhood, these ones remember middle school, these ones remember high school, these ones remember more the adult life. They make all of the memories. And then we have Ziggy. Ziggy's been around forever. She's never not been around. She does remember things, but really Ziggy is more of like an effector on us. When Ziggy's around, we behave differently. And so that's one reason why we always kind of said like Ziggy is the basis of our ADHD. Like she's the one with the ADHD. And as she lovingly put it, yes, I am the one with the ADHD and y'all are the ones with a Ziggy. Doesn't really make it any different, does it?
That's great.
Seems like y'all are really dealing with ADHD because you have me. And it's like, yeah, I like never thought of it that way. And basically the way we look at it is we're like, Ziggy is that part of the brain that helps with impulse control.
Absolutely.
And she's terrible at it. She's terrible
Yeah,
at it.
that's ADHD, my friend. It's no impulse control.
It's like, and you know, and that's like we've been told by both of our doctors that we have ADHD. Now they want the psychiatrist to say it too, and the psychiatrist is like, "You're finally admitting it." Well, see, we just really thought it was the DID. We just really thought once we had better communication, we'd stop forgetting things. We'd be okay. And then it's been a year now, and we're not okay. We cannot get any more successful, no matter what we do as a system.
Right. I'm being swarmed by cats. Don't mind me. Oh my god. Please. There's two of them on my desk now, and I'm just like,
I love it. A lot of our thoughts were, there was a lot of hesitation in getting a diagnosis because we know the diagnosis leads to medication. And we're like,
stop
what
it.
is the medication going to make Ziggy go away? Like, is just Ziggy not going to exist anymore? And I think it got to the point where Ziggy was going, if I don't exist, that'll be better for y'all, and I'm ready for that.
That's kind of sad in a way, though.
She was like, I don't think I'm gonna not exist anymore. I think I'm probably just gonna calm down.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be that.
But
calm down, be orderly.
That was kind of the point that we had to get to, was us looking at her and her going, I'm tired of being like this, and if non-existence is what will help, I'm fine with that.
Damn. Wow.
Because I'm tired of us not being successful. And it's like, okay.
My cat's being an absolute fucking gremlin. Goodbye, Nero. It's really a shame that you can't see this, because he just made such a face.
But, you know, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
No, that's gonna be a fucking tumultuous thing if Ziggy just fucking up and disappears entirely because you're taking the medication.
We all kind of have this thing of going, I think it's silly to say if she represents a part of the brain, that helping that part of the brain is going to make it go away.
No, it's just going to help Ziggy.
The thing about Ziggy is, like, all of that science that I just spit at you, that's her. She does all of that research. She reads the studies. She writes the papers. Well, she doesn't write them by herself, but
you
she
know
has
what?
all the information.
What's going to happen is that Ziggy, instead of being all over the place, is going to be a lot more organized with all the research and be like, oh, I know how to be productive when I need to be productive now. Like, that's what ADHD medication does to someone who has ADHD. Wild that.
Like, we keep saying that, and we're just like our appointment's on Thursday this week, and we're like, okay. I love it because our psychologist is like, our doctor was like, we really want to hear from your psychologist because of the fact that you have DID, and we've never treated a patient who has DID with ADHD. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's fine. Psychologist is the one that told me to talk to you. Whatever. The medication. All she can do is diagnose me.
Right. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Fucking.
Get back to her, and she's like, "Yeah, you're okay. Cool. Thanks for finally admitting this." Because that was originally, she's like, "Are you sure you don't have ADHD?" And I'm like, no, it's just that Ziggy is just always talking. It's just that, you know, Ziggy's always running around pulling people's hair and shit. Like,
isn't this a Beatles song?
It's not a problem.
You are me and me is you, and we are all here together right now over me. Wait, did the Beatles write about DID? Shit.
You have a whole list of songs that hit different when you're a system.
Oh, God.
So
good TikTok ideas.
Like, how are you not talking about DID? At the very least, you know what it's like to depersonalize. Like, at the very least.
I know I do. Because, I know genuinely I have episodes of deep depersonalization where I'm literally just viewing myself, like, looking down into the computer. And it's just like, and it's that. So it's shit, because in part that's me being autistic, and that's like an autistic shutdown thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh. Because it's like, I am self-aware that I am seeing myself from the top down, and I should probably not be doing that. I need to go back to that body, don't I?
That is the worst part of being self-aware in a very real mental health way.
That's like, I'm just frustrated now.
A lot of professionals feel this. Like, when you start to research it and you really understand the brain, and you're like, I know my brain probably shouldn't be doing this, but
it sure the fuck is right now.
I don't know how to make it stop.
Well, see, the thing is, I also used to suffer with daily panic attacks and anxiety, and just always having an anxiety attack. Um, so yeah, panic attacks more intense.
Do you have ADHD as well?
I don't know. I'm not okay. So there's a lot of things that I have self-claimed and self-diagnosed with myself due to literally years of experiencing said things and my own fucking like
Self-diagnosis is
degree in
valid.
research. What's that?
Self-diagnosis is valid.
I know. I'm still
So,
fucking scared. I was scared to fucking self-diagnose myself as autistic, but after talking with many autistic friends and being like, yeah, I always did like these weird analytical analyses of social situations as a child. Is that normal? And they're like, bitch, you're autistic. Just it's okay. You can call yourself autistic. You're not going to offend anyone. I'm like, okay.
I love how like our version of figuring out ADHD was meeting somebody who had ADHD and being
Right.
like, yeah, I just go through this thing where blah 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 blah, blah. And she's like, I'm like, is that normal? And she's like, for someone with ADHD,
It is, yeah. So I might have ADHD. I do not wish to claim having ADHD because I don't think I have it. I think it's just me being autistic, but maybe I'm also ADHD, and then I'm ADHD is the new fucking hip term for that, where you're autistic and ADHD. Anyway, my partner's ADHD, and funny enough, I've started telling them that I'm pretty sure they're also autistic. So you know, it's a funny back and forth here.
There's so much overlap, and in all honesty,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about two sets of brain structures that are similar. The
Yes.
difference is that you have an ADHD. You're amazing. There we go. I love
Glow.
my child. My child, like, I can see that you can't see anything in your screen. Let me bring you a light, Mom. He's the best. So yeah, there's so much overlap between ADHD and autism, and it's because the brain structure is similar.
Yeah.
The difference is the chemical. The ADHD people take it, our brains take it one step further and have a chemical problem and blood flow problems. And autistic, you're still talking about a different brain structure.
Yeah, it's also that. It's also the pruning. It's just a neurological thing as well. It's like there's so much. So.
And there's a lot of overlap. Like, and again, figuring out autism and ADHD and separating those two things is a process.
Yep,
Because
I still have not gone through that myself personally because I'm not willing yet to admit that I have ADHD potentially. If I do or don't, I mean, either way, if I do or if I fucking don't.
It was easier to accept. The DID was easier to accept than the ADHD.
Right, I feel.
Just being honest, it was.
Here's the thing for me. Even if I do have ADHD, if I took a test, A of all, I wouldn't take a test. B of all, I'm not willing to take medication for shit. Like, you have to beg me to take a fucking aspirin, and I have to be, like, on death's door, dying of pain to take an aspirin. Like, I am very pill anxiety.
Me too. Me too.
So, like, I would never...
to justify talking to my doctor about it.
Like, I wouldn't medicate my ADHD if I have ADHD because it doesn't impede my function in life. Maybe it does, and I just don't think about it, but I'm okay. I'm fine for now.
No, I see what you've done with your platform, and think that is definitely I think it may impede your life, but it may not impede it in ways that are so much that you need medication.
Right.
I look at my life and go, it is very irritating and annoying that we have put so much effort into becoming such a well-oiled system. Right. And we're all failing because of this thing that we can't control.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
in a weird fucking way, an ironic way, you're controlling. In an ironic way, it seems that you're controlling the DID super fucking well. You got shit figured out. ADHD, whole nother fucking monster. You can't control it. You can't tell it what to do.
No, and it has an effect on all of us. And like I said, it was really easy for us to be like, oh, it's just Ziggy. But then we start thinking about it. Well, Ziggy shades the way that people feel. And certain people experience, like we have certain alters that are the more hyper alters, that they come out and they have no control over the fact that they're out. They're out. They can't control it. We can't control it. It's like every so often, I mean, Libby is the master gatekeeper. And she has times where she can't control things. That's not normal. That's too much for Libby. At the very least, we have to be able to control things more.
Right.
Or else we're never going to be successful. When we live out of doom boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been talking about going to school for years, but won't do it, even though we do really well in school. Why? Because the task of starting school is so big.
Yeah.
That we don't know where to start, so we just won't.
Executive dysfunction. Executive dysfunction.
It is not fit. And what's funny is, talk about names, the names of roles.
Yep.
We don't call ourselves hosts.
Mm-hmm.
We call ourselves the executive functioners.
Ooh, I like that.
So we are the executive functioners. And again, we have pilot names for all of us. We're all pilots.
Right.
Then we have 2 command pilots that they're like above us. And then we have the flight captain who is above all of that. Everybody's got their little title that they have that's based off of a spaceship.
That's cool.
But that's what we call it. We call ourselves the executive functioners. Anybody who participates in the normal day-to-day life, crap, you're an executive functioner. And it's like
I guess
putting
so.
all this control into it, and we still sometimes cannot control the executive function.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true, unfortunately.
What it is, we've been relating it to. We have the best flight crew. We have the best space crew. We have a good response crew. We've got medics. We've got this whole badass team. And we are in a jalopy.
Yeah. Like, the engine is not optimal.
It's missing a belt.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to get it to go, like, down the street. And we can't even...
You need an oil change. or something.
And again, like I said, I mean, seriously, the DID, that was so much easier to accept. I did not want to accept that the ADHD, because DID is within my control.
Right.
There's not a medication for it.
No.
There are medications to help with the symptoms, but there's not a medication for DID. You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So telling us that we have to figure it out,
Sure.
and then we're like, I mean, you realize that's the reason we feel that way is because we have ADHD.
Maybe. Just a little bit.
Telling our brain that all we have to do is figure it out, that's a lot of dopamine right there.
Figure it out dopamine. Puzzles.
Big dopamine trail right there. Just love it. So, you know, I'm like, again, we're super hesitant about the medication, but at this point,
for sure.
We're ready.
So I'm trying to like get back to where the fuck I was talking about. So like my partner's ADHD and I'm autistic, and right, I've gone through depression and I've gone through anxiety attacks and stuff. Where was I going with all of that before? I've gone through depersonalization.
Oh, I asked you if you had ADHD.
Oh, you asked me if I had ADHD, and I was like, no, I don't akin to that, but I'll self-diagnose with everything else.
My doctor was like, she goes, I really think once we get you on a medication and your brain is working for you, that a lot of your extra anxiety will go away. And I'm like, yeah,
possibly, yeah.
I think a lot of people who are autistic and ADHD, we just carry a lot more anxiety because of that. Like,
I mean,
there's
it's just
life is riddled with anxiety because you can't navigate it easily.
I mean, think about it this way. It's just like semi-traumatic to grow up autistic and not know that you're autistic, you know?
You can remove the semi, okay? Because it's just straight up traumatic.
I know. I just want to convince myself that I'm not that traumatized, and I know I fucking am.
You know what? That's one of the bigger ones that we don't like to get into a lot of conversation about system discourse.
Yeah.
But we're sitting here going,
Hi.
you know all these endos out there?
Endos.
You know what an endogenic system is?
Oh, that's not from trauma. Yeah.
Yeah. How many of those systems are autistic and they just don't realize that just being autistic was the trauma? Go tell daddy.
Yeah, true.
Like that. I have met a system who is like, I think I'm an endo system because I don't remember any trauma. And I'm like, oh,
Honey.
well, that's fine. Yeah, for us, we're very big on, we're not going to tell you that what's happening in your head is not happening.
Right, for sure.
If you're telling me this is what you experience, I'm going to believe you because I believe human experience.
Same here, of course, as always.
Even to believe you're lying. And if you are lying, eventually that's going to come out anyway.
Here's the other
This
thing.
is complicated to keep up with.
I was about to say, like, how the fuck do you fake GID? Like, what?
I told somebody once, I said, whenever we only had 7 of us, I was like, oh my gosh, if we're going to have this many more, how am I going to remember all of this? How am I going to remember everybody's name? How am I going to remember this, that, the other?
And then you had an alter.
Libby from the back goes,
all right.
Why would you need to remember it? They remember it about themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need to remember it. They remember it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, like, there is no need to keep up with it because
They'll keep up with
we
themselves.
all remember our own selves.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, okay. That
Shit,
well, that
didn't
makes
think
a lot
about that.
of sense.
Yeah.
But meeting this endo system and talking to them and then hearing them tell me just about the struggles they went through being autistic in a neurotypical world. And I'm like,
it's like, you have
call yourself endo. That's trauma.
Like, that's a traumatic experience, my friend.
But I think a lot of the problem is what we qualify as trauma.
In part, that's the imposter syndrome, you know?
The thing that bothers me is we're not talking about trauma in the terms of a human adult. We're talking about what was considered trauma for a child.
Exactly.
That does not mean abuse necessarily.
Nope. Doesn't have to.
That it doesn't have to be direct abuse that to make it trauma.
Yeah.
And people don't think about that. Like, I mean, I have memories that we consider traumatic because our trauma holder remembers them of being lost in a store for over an hour, could not find our mom.
Wow.
That's it. But we pulled up a whole trauma holder just for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
That was, again, at 3 years old, that was traumatizing.
Yeah.
We can't I feel like we gatekeep what trauma is. And that is the problem we're running into.
Well,
everybody's thinking trauma has to mean abuse. Right.
No, and this is why I'm such like a supporter of radical acceptance as a whole, like as a personality trait for sorry for the pun here, but but seriously, like radical acceptance of like shit, I did fucking go through some traumatic shit. Like nowadays I'm like, oh, that's nothing. That's like breakfast. But like back in the day, fuck, that fucked up my whole life. Like,
dude, and the idea of generational trauma too. Like,
yep. True.
I don't know. Wait. You said you were a little bit younger than me. So are you a millennial?
April 29th, 1993. I am a millennial, yes, which means you're Gen X.
No, I am technically a millennial. I'm an elder millennial.
I'm an
elder millennial.
Do you drink more than me? Probably.
I don't drink. I hate drinking. Ugh.
I don't drink anything. I don't drink or smoke or do nothing.
I'm fine with people doing it. It's just for
same.
us. It's a headache, man. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just a headache. millennials, you know, they constantly talk about how millennials are like we don't have as much drive as other generations.
Yes, we were disillusioned at an early age.
And I'm like, y'all realize that some of our earliest memories were like
9/11.
not 9/11. Well, you remember, you may not remember this may be too old for you, but
I might.
I remember being told I was not allowed to open my mail because people were sending, I can't remember what the chemical
Anthrax.
was.
Anthrax. Mm-hmm. The anthrax scare.
That was a childhood memory.
Yeah.
Of being scared to open letters because they could kill me. And then you told us the world was ending in 2000.
Right. Oh my god.
And then
Y2K.
9/11 happened, and we really thought the world was ending again.
Yeah. I was in 3rd grade. I remember, everyone fucking remembers so fucking clearly where they were during 9/11. Guess what? That's a group traumatic memory, kids. Like, you fucking remember it so, I remember it so fucking clearly what happened.
Don't tell Brother Blue.
They like wanted to put on the TV and they're like, no, don't put on the TV. I was in 3rd grade. We were with a 2nd grade class because there was like a mixed 2nd grade, 3rd grade class. And they were calling parents.
I feel like that was traumatic.
Yeah. I actually, it's wild. I probably, at the time, knew kids whose parents worked in the World Trade Center. And I started hearing like weeks afterwards, I would hear stories how like this kid was taken out of school because their parent did fucking die in the Twin Towers. And then other kids were like still traumatized and out of school because their parents didn't die, but like they were about to go into work at the Trade Towers.
See, and
you too, right?
Well, for us, it was, I did know we knew one girl that her dad we knew one girl that her dad was going to the trade centers that day and apparently got food poisoning.
Wow.
And stayed in the hotel.
Yeah.
And they could not get a hold of him because he was sick.
Right.
And she got yanked because they thought
they were dead. Yeah. For sure.
And it wasn't until he finally was well enough to get a hold of him and say, no, I'm fine. And that was scary. For us, it was like, everybody was watching it. It was, we're never allowed to watch anything on those school TVs.
Right, but then that
was on every single TV. Everybody was watching it. And I remember, it's crazy because, again, system thing, but like removing the emotions from anything is super easy when you've dealt with trauma.
True.
And so for us, we're like, damn.
That sucks.
Are we gonna do any homework?
Yeah, no. So I wasn't like particularly okay. So let me put it this way: I was not negatively affected to a big degree about it, but I know I was really annoyed, and I had some very adult thoughts about the whole situation.
It was still very scary.
Yeah, it was quite scary. And like they eventually like sent us home. They were like talking about like, do we allow parents to come pick up their kid? Do we not? But eventually they let us go home like normally. And I remember coming home and my dad was home from work and I was like, that's weird. And my parents were both downstairs. My mom was on the computer. My dad was watching TV. And, like, I saw the buildings, and I was like, what the fuck happened? And then I turned on the TV upstairs in my mom's room, and I saw that, like, a building had crashed into the tower. And I'm like, that's fucking wild, but I want to watch my show. Right. And then I watched my show, but then my show is interrupted by plane number 2. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, we're going to enter world. I literally was like, we're going to enter World War III. Like, this is 7. How old was I? 7, 8? And I was like, we're going to enter World War III or Gulf War 2.0 or something. You
See,
know,
I think it was about 14,
this
15. And I'm
this is
like,
so bad. And then I heard about like them doing like the phone tapping thing, and again at me like the Freedom Act or whatever. And at age 7, 8, I was like, they're just using this as an excuse to peer into our privacy. This is not okay. At 7, 8. English only, please. I'm sorry. Welcome in. How's it going?
and that's the thing is, and that's why you wonder why millennials are such doomsdayers. You raised us this way. We were raised to constantly think the world was going to end. So you want to know why we find it more important to deal with our life and our love and our all of this stuff as opposed to getting a job and making money?
9/11 did contribute to emo. Sorry. Welcome back, Jeffrey, by the way. So also welcome in Allison. Please English only in the chat. You said I'm crazy, help me. We are peer support only. We are not professionals. We are not replacement professional therapy. We're more than happy to talk to you about what's going on in your life. But please go locate resources as well in your community. But welcome in Mental Health Talk Place, queer safe space. Also, sorry, to what you were saying. No, so the 9/11 contributed emo. Okay, so Ribbon's not here, but basically, because 9/11 happened, the band My Chemical Romance got together.
Oh wow!
And because MCR got together, Stephanie Meyer got inspired to write Twilight and was driven to write Twilight entirely. And therefore 50 Shades of Grey happened. What is it? It's some like 7 degrees of separation of like 9/11 caused some band to exist. It's not MCR, but something else.
I love that.
Whatever band it is. Whatever band it was.
Well, yeah, you had a bunch of people being like, oh God, this world is terrible.
No, it is inspired by MCR. I was right. Said My Chemical Romance inspired Twilight. She had a vivid dream in 2003 that initially got her to start writing her first novel. Yep. And MCR was formed because 9/11 happened.
We have read the Twilight series at least 6 times.
Literally looking it up. Yeah, MCR.
No. I'm sure about MCR.
In the immediate aftermath of 9/11 attacks, citing the tragedy as a motivation to make a difference.
Yeah.
So because 9/11 happened, My Chemical Romance happened, and because My Chemical Romance happened, Stephanie Meyer wrote the Twilight series.
I just live here.
So thereby, terrorists caused Twilight.
Terrorist.
Caused 50 Shades of Grey, whatever.
I feel like there's a whole like comedy sketch there. Like,
there is.
That's greatness. I've never heard that before. That's greatness. But I mean, again, though, you wonder why millennials kind of live in a doomsday state. It's like we were raised in it.
Yeah, no. I've told people before, listen, I was traumatized for breakfast. Whatever the fuck is happening in the world now is just like nothing. So we're so like dull. Like we're so desensitized to all the hard shit that's happening nowadays. But it's also like it's weird. It's a weird fucking dichotomy of like it's so important to not be desensitized to this shit because this isn't okay. Like school shootings, that shit's not okay. You know what I mean? Like and now we're like finally we have some more energy. We're kind of sort of trying to stabilize and be financially stable and be out on our own. And it's just like anger because everything like nothing fucking got better. Like wages haven't raised in fucking over properly in 20 fucking plus years. Like
but prices have gone up.
Prices have gone up recently, yes, because they're price gorging as a expectation of price gouging because of expectations of lack of supplies. And now they fucking banned abortions, and I'm pretty sure those judges are not going to be safe. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
not making a specific threat. I'm just saying that I severely am concerned for their safety because, good lord, these people are going to be mad.
Oh my gosh! I just saw a TikTok talking about, like an older person saying, I hate this cancel culture, and I hate that like they all want to shut down anything that's not their opinion, all these millennials.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how many times did you tell your millennial child whenever they disagreed with you to be quiet? How many times did you hush them whenever they were wanting to explain something or speak their mind? How many times did you tell them to go to their room when they disagreed with you? And you never let them tell you how they disagreed. You literally taught us how to put people down when they disagree with us. That's what you taught us.
Yeah. Seriously.
Y'all taught us that if somebody disagrees with our opinion, we just need to shut them down. So that's what we're doing. We're shutting you down. Your opinion doesn't matter anymore. And that's good. I mean, I think it's a good thing because I have a friend who is a Gen Xer and my husband is a Gen Xer. And we always talk about that Gen Xers were like, fuck the man, let's burn the establishment down.
Right.
But they had no plan for how to build it back up.
We
They
had no
just
plan how to burn it
knew-
either because it didn't burn very well. If you try to burn
they
it,
just
nothing
knew
fucking
it was
happened.
wrong. But they had no way to rebuild. So even though they burned stuff, the old stuff just rebuilt itself.
Right.
I feel like what a lot of millennials have done is we've come in and we've gone, hey Gen Xers, did y'all realize y'all are traumatized? We're traumatized too. Maybe we should work on that and heal ourselves.
Maybe a little bit.
That's why millennials are considered the sensitive ones, and
Wait.
we're really pro mental health.
Are you referencing the specific TikToker that I'm thinking of?
Well, I have no idea.
Okay. There's this black gentleman who does sketches where he pretends to be like COVID-19 and Gen X and millennials and all this. It's very, very funny.
I know. I think I
You
know
know what
what
I'm
you're
talking about? Yeah. It's great.
But it's like again, Gen Xers, they understood everything was wrong. They wanted it to be deconstructed, but they hadn't deconstructed themselves.
Yeah. The
Millennials
generational
came
trauma
along.
was still affecting them.
Millennials came along, and when we got older, we went, we're not doing this to our children.
Yeah, absolutely.
And furthermore, we're going to turn around and start working on all you Gen Xers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the thing is that millennials,
We need to work together.
We tend to be softer.
Sure.
We do. The Gen Xers are like all gunpowder, and we're like all roses. And what's great about that is that the Zoomers, they're getting both.
They fucking dab on us, and I love them. They're funky little gremlins.
We're going to tear this world down, and we know exactly what to put in place to make it right.
I love their energy.
I love it too.
I really appreciate them. And like whenever I see people who are like, haha, Gen Z is so fucking cringe, I'm like, bruh, please go look at your own Facebook from 10 years ago and tell me that you weren't cringe, all right? They just have their own memes and you don't understand them. Let them fucking be. Like,
dude, here's my thing is that Zoomers, they're actually aware of the political things going on in this world.
Yeah.
I was not.
Yeah.
At their age, I wasn't talking about rights and
right.
And
I mean, I think what it is, it's basically. So, all right, we're here. Are you ready for the tinfoil hat?
Yes.
Okay, so tinfoil hat conspiracy time. This is how Waba's gonna get canceled. All right, listen. Full theory. Republicans have accidentally dug themselves a giant fucking hole that they'll never be able to get out of because what they have created is a dystopian state where consistently more and more people's rights are being threatened. It's gotten now to the point that the mainstream, so aka white het cis males, are fucking very aware of this and additionally very upset about it. Thereby, what this is going to do is start to create a society and create a people who get elected in government that have these radical ideas of, maybe everyone should have like equitable fucking rights and we should guarantee human rights and eat the rich and fuck capitalists, you know? So they're creating their own demise by, you know, punching down so much so that congratulations, you've punched the mainstream, and the mainstream is going to come back with a vengeance, which will now hopefully create a vicious cycle, as opposed to a vicious cycle, of further generations continuing to improve on people making more human rights more available. Abortion rights are going to be fucking legalized again. Like, shit is going to get better. It's just going to take a god-awful long fucking time, because goddamn those boomers won't fucking die to do it. End of conspiracy theory.
My husband is always saying, we just need for a generation to die. That's all we need, is for this generation to just die off, and then we'll be fine. And eat the rich. That's our number one thing that we talk about, is guys, we just really need to eat the rich. There are enough of us that we could totally overtake them.
Listen, a coup only takes 2% of a population. Just saying. Just saying. Just putting it out there. Additionally, putting it out there, if you redistributed the wealth of the top 10, no, we don't even have to say a lot of people.
0.1.
The top
the
10
top
people. Yeah, the top 0.1 percentage of people. And you redistributed
people.
that wealth fucking equally, everyone's millionaires.
Everyone.
Like...
And that's like, and it's funny because again, you will not catch me ever saying that there are not BIPOC problems. You will not catch me saying there are not women's problems,
right?
That there are not indigenous problems. There are not all these things. But I sit here and I think, in the idea of repealing Roe v. Wade, in the idea of repealing equal rights, in the idea of repealing those things, I don't believe that any of this is going to affect a rich person. I don't see it that way. It affects the poor people. It affects the poor people more than anybody else.
Yeah, no fucking shit. It'll affect... Listen, this Roe v. Wade shit, it's going to affect poor black people the worst.
All the rich... I love... This guy made a song and he was like... a poor Republican has more in common with a poor Democrat
than
a rich Republican.
That's very fucking true. Yeah.
And I'm going, that's the thing is, and again, you're talking tinfoil hat, so we're there.
Yeah, sure.
When I look at it, it's hard for me to not see. Inside. I fixed it. Take it to Brother Blue and see if he can fix it. I'm mommy, so mommy fixes everything. The way I look at it is, you have two sides to a political party.
Yeah.
All the candidates are rich. And if they're not rich, if they actually are a good candidate, I mean, like Bernie Sanders, you don't make it. You're not going to make it. Guess what? You're not going to make it because you're an actual good person who would look out for the people. You're not going to make it. It's going to be somebody who is uber rich and doesn't give a shit.
Yep.
And if they can keep us fighting against one another, then we won't see what they're doing to all of us.
Because that's the thing. Like, it's just modern day. It's effectively modern day slavery. Like,
it is. And I mean, and that's the thing, is that we again, not to say that there aren't plenty of issues, but how many of these issues are systemic?
Yeah, they all. Here's the answer. They all are systemic. Haha. Let me fucking blow your mind. Like, that's not a hard one to believe.
And my thing is like, I'm like, again, the news media outlets and all of that stuff, so many of them train us to believe that anybody who is like, if you're a Democrat, what you're watching is going to train you to believe that all Republicans are extremists.
But they aren't. Most are moderates.
And they aren't. most of them are moderates.
There's a very loud minority that are fucking extremists, and they're traditionalists, and we pray to fucking Trump is Jesus's,
And that's my thing, is that on the right side, they're trained and they're taught that everybody on the left side is an extremist.
Yeah.
And so then it makes you go, oh, we have nothing to agree upon. But in reality, you do. You have so much to agree upon. So much. That has nothing to do with right or left. It's basic human decency. And you're missing that because you've bought into the story that they want you to think is happening.
Yep, pretty much.
I'm not saying that there aren't extremists. There definitely are.
Yeah.
But most people fall in the middle. Most people in this country fall somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's true. And in fact, the percentage of people who are actually just independents is so large. So the idea that we're stuck in a two-party system is literally just a fucking lie that they keep selling us.
I love that. That's a scam that we've all bought into so long we don't even know that it's a scam. That and the Electoral College.
Oh yeah. My chat is telling me, there's a weird. So I have a chat. I'm live on Twitch. I don't know if you knew that. But my chat has told me that we're getting off from DID, and I think that's just ridiculous. I've never gone off topic ever in a Mental Health Monday. I don't have ADHD. You have ADHD.
I have ADHD. So we'll just put it all on me.
That's right. Waba blames guests for topics going off the rails every single Mental Health Monday. It's always the guest's fault. All my guests just have ADHD, obviously. It's not Waba. Waba could never be at fault for anything that they put on their own platform. That's ridiculous. Anyway, thank you for talking with us about...
I can segue it back in, though, because, systems do have political views.
Mm-hmm.
Within a system, and that is an interesting thing to have to deal with. Also, spirituality and religion can differ amongst alters, and that's a difficult thing to live with. Like, very, very Christian upbringing, but constantly feeling a pull from all these different other places. Yeah, it's weird to have somebody who believes differently than you in your own head. But it happens.
Okay, so clarification systems here, and she's one of my mods, and she just wants to talk with you sometime.
Anytime. Like we always tell people, like, if you follow us on TikTok and we don't follow you back, comment in there, hey, I followed you, can I get a follow back? And we'll follow back. And our DMs are always open. Like,
do you check Discord often or no? Not really.
No.
I didn't figure. Because I sent you a message on Discord first just to make sure everything was cool. And then I sent you one on TikTok.
And that's the one I responded to. Yes.
Yep, it is. Oh, they don't use TikTok anymore. Yeah, they're mostly Discord.
Discord does something to our brain. I think it's the ADHD, but it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much here. I can't, like, we can't keep up.
That's funny that you can't keep up with Discord, but TikTok's just like, bing bong.
No problem.
Oh my god, I'd be so overwhelmed. Anyway.
But TikTok for me is, again, it's funny because we've heard a lot of systems say this, but when we started our TikTok, it wasn't to educate people. It was just for us.
Yeah.
We liked being able to see the proof of our DID. Yeah, being able to see a video of somebody and you're going, I don't remember that. It's a good way to fight imposter syndrome.
Absolutely.
Is going and looking back at videos where you're like, that's so and so, and that's so and so, and that's so and so. And it's things like noticing that your face changes. Your face changes. The way you hold your body changes. Everything changes depending on who's driving it. And they're like, we always tell people, even if you don't want to post publicly, post privately. It's better than a journal. It is. I mean, it's a live journal where you actually get to do a lot more. And especially now that they have like avatars, now you can actually make yourself look like yourself.
Apparently on TikTok, every time we try to post something about DID, it got taken down. What the fuck?
Who?
Clarification system. That's weird.
Tag us.
Time to relog into your account.
Give us the report numbers so that we can argue with TikTok about it. Like, because we do that as a community. Like, people's videos will get taken down, and you will have systems just descend upon TikTok and
Also
say,
known
no,
as
restore
too
their
gay for
videos,
you.
restore their account."
Is that your TikTok?
Whose?
I'm asking them. Anyway. This has been bloody lovely.
I'm going, you ever want us to come back when it's not just about DID? We'll do that too. Like,
Come back about
it's not-
ADHD. Let's go.
Yeah, anytime. You know what? Hit me up in about 2 months
Yeah,
after
seriously.
we've been diagnosed and on medication, and we can tell you all about it.
Coming up next on Waba's Mental Health Monday. Next month we have addictions and substance use and recovery. The month afterwards we will do personality disorders, I think. Yes. August is personality disorders. September, anxiety disorders, OCD, PTSD, question mark? October, intersectionality for 2 months in October and November. And then
Ooh.
December is... December is, I don't know. We'll do something. Probably relationships or something. Or actually, I did loss, death, changes, transitions. Yeah, Discord has evolved a lot. I agree. It can be overwhelming at times.
Like,
Alright.
it's weird because there's like, some of it is very reminiscent of like the 90s chat rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it's like. We're not capable of keeping up anymore, and so we get stuck lost in Discord.
Yeah, the best course usually for Discord is don't try to keep up. You can just start your own conversation and people will usually respond.
And I'm like, huh, I need it, and I also need it to pop up. I wish Discord had a pop-up feature.
Oh, you can enable that.
Where it like actually like I had like a little like Messenger, Facebook Messenger. That's how I do all my texting because it gives me a little.
Yeah,
It sits on the
again,
screen.
you can enable that if you want to.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a bubble. Because I would love to be able to privately chat with people on Discord. Because so many people are from TikTok to Discord, you know?
I was about to say, TikTok to Discord is really, really great to help manage a community and help have more of a community.
I have tried twice to start my own server. Both have blown up spectacularly in my face. And I have walked away like this.
So on servers you can, mess with your notification settings, but you can also mess with like your base notification settings for like messages to yourself or people to message you on Discord. You can put on your phone settings, hey, give me notifications on Discord. In fact, I'm trying to find my notifications. Get notifications with Discord. Get notifications outside of Discord. Set notifications to see, and then you click that, and then it's like, yes, Discord, what notifications do you want? Yes, I want them on. Great. And then you
See,
go from
but I
there.
need them to come up. I need them, instead of coming up in my notifications bar,
Hmm.
I need it to be like an icon on the screen. That's what I need. And I don't know that they offer that. I know they do notifications, but I'm so bad about flicking away those notifications and not even thinking about it. And in all honesty, I'm sitting here talking about it, and I love it because Ziggy's going, I bet you whenever we're on medication, we'll be able to deal with Discord better.
Discord does apparently pop up as chat bubbles.
It
Is what
does?
chat is saying, yeah.
Okay, then I need to figure that out because that's what I need I need a chat bubble.
Yeah,
Because when
I
the
can
bubbles
show you
pop
how to...
up-
I can show you how to access it. Like, you could probably just do it right now. Honestly.
Well, I don't want to click anything. I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah,
touch
you don't want to
anything.
click anything. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and
As soon
Pika
as it
is...
that's probably the first thing I'm gonna do is go figure out how to make chat
Yeah.
bubbles.
Pika's a mod for me, and there's only 2 channels I have all notifications turned on for Waba's server. Yeah. Hello there, Wabi Sabi Guru, welcome in. How are you doing? Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. Mental health talk place. Queer safe space. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're taking care of yourself out there. Hi, Drunk Beth. How are you doing? Thank you so much. How is DBD? Welcome, Mirrors. This is Mental Health Monday. We're actually near like the end of Mental Health Monday, but this is the portion where I interview someone and it goes on YouTube later. Hi, welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you for sharing your community with us. It's very kind of you. Wabi is my friend. Hello, new friend. I love new friends. Hello. But yes, welcome in. Feel free to say hi. Feel free to let us know how you're doing. But yes.
I
So
love
yeah.
how you tell everybody to take care of themselves when they come in.
Well, yeah. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Oh, yeah. Wabi, also, you butt. You just did a whole fucking stream. Go do stream aftercare, or else. Or else. I'm gonna yeet a cat at you. Cats will be yeeted.
Cats will be yeeted.
It's a real
That is
threat.
Think of a yeeted cat
She's a good
coming
vibe.
directly at you.
I will grab Sky. He's the top right one of the Waba love there. And I will yeet him at you. You will lick your nose off. She's a good vibe. That's awesome. We love the good vibes, yes. Did I have any more questions to ask you that we talked about before yesterday? Am I forgetting everything? Am I just gonna have you back on again when I inevitably remember?
That's all right too. Yeah. I think we pretty much, I mean, we talked about, I'm sitting here going, we talked about levels of awareness.
Yeah, we did
talked
awareness.
about
We did brain
brain
history.
Right. We even talked about introjects and all of that.
We even
I mean,
talked
I
about
pretty much-
system course without like going into a
Without
shouting
actually-
match.
Yeah, actually having anybody get angry. I love it. I mean, you know, that's pretty much all of it. I mean, obviously that's not all that goes into being a system, but yeah.
That's all of
that's
it in your that's all of your experiences is what we're saying. We'll say.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for telling
It's
us.
a neat experience.
Indeed. So this is our guest today. Is the Wyld system. Only on TikTok.
Oh yeah, only on TikTok.
Only on TikTok. So thank you so
We're
much.
hoping we'll expand, but you know, we'll
One
see.
day. One day more. Thank you so much, seriously, for talking with us. It's been fucking
For
lovely.
having me. Thank you for having us. It's been great. Like it's been nice. We like to be able to talk in really depth sciencey stuff with people who like again are knowledgeable in it, so they follow really well. That's nice.
Yeah, we just like agree every step of the way. It's not an argument of like, yes, this is valid, and like, yes, we have to accept this, and yes.
But you know, again, it's definitely a weird experience. It's something that it's the whole reason why I post on TikTok is because the experience is so weird.
Right.
We know how it was being on our own, and we don't want other people to have to experience that.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why we do it here as well, too. You know? Exactly why we do it. So no one ever feels alone. People can feel educated, but also people can feel loved and appreciated and supported and all that good stuff.
No, you said radical acceptance, and I'm like,
radical acceptance.
Yes.
All right.
I don't care what you're going through. I got you.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Pick a song that you want this absolute chaotic being to play on piano for us because we're gonna raid into him.
Oh, a song?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, what songs do you know? Like, what songs are known? 'Cause I could go so deep. Oh. You know Four Non-Blondes? What's going on?
And I wake in the morning and I step outside and I run up, get real high and I... Yeah, he probably knows it.
That is our system anthem because we watched Sense8 and they sing that song and that was the first time that we went, what's going on here? Like, it's so the same. So yeah.
All right,
That's a
well, I don't know if are you able to watch the stream?
I will once I get off of it too, then I'll be able to watch.
All right, get off here, get into the stream, and then come with us on a magical journey.
All right. That
I
sounds
love
so
you.
much fun.
I really
Love
fucking
y'all.
like
Thank
appreciate
you.
you, deeply appreciate you for coming on and talking with us. This has been
Anytime.
magical.
Anytime. It was wonderful. Thank you
Please
so
take care.
much.
Yes.
Oh, and thank you so much.
Keep us updated too. Haha, I'm gonna get you to use Discord. It's my secret hidden motive.
You have to, yeah. Like, especially if y'all got me the pop-up bubbles. Now it's
Hell
game
yeah,
over.
I'm gonna help you with that. I'm gonna help you with that.
Awesome.
All right. Take cares for now.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank yous. Bye-byes.
Come catch Waba live only on Twitch.